Hello, welcome. Episode 9 of Burnt Rubber Racing, the podcast. We are back. Episode 9. We're almost to double digits. Zach, I don't know how we're doing this, but we are still going. We are not canceled, and there's really no end in sight. We're about to hit double digit. What an achievement for us next week, man. So y'all better tune in for that one too. But it's only 9 right now, so I'll calm my expectations for the moment. But we've got a load of shows we always do. Zach McAdoo is joining me as always. How are you this afternoon, sir?
I'm doing great. We here to talk NASCAR. Let's get it done. Let's go.
Let's do it indeed. Again, a reminder, as we always do, follow, subscribe to Burnt Rubber Racing wherever you get your podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spreaker. We're also on the Flurry Sports Podcast Network. You can get a segmented version of the show on there each and every Friday. So if you're subscribed to that one, Zach and Jake always do a great job with that show on Mondays. Highly entertaining, and we are thrilled to be a part of that network as well. So check us out on there each and every Friday. Zach, I don't know why in the rundown it says you're the funnier guy of the two. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm just going to move along and give an overview of today's show. We're going to recap last week's NASCAR action in Martinsville. Martin Truex Jr. does it again. It's right in the title. It is indeed Martinsville. We'll get to that. Some Xfinity fireworks again. I feel like it's every week with the Xfinity boys. So we'll talk about that, including an impressive drive to victory for Josh Berry. A couple news and notes to get to, and then it's on to Richmond for NASCAR. And oh, by the way, IndyCar. They start their season this weekend in Alabama. So we'll touch on that toward the end of the show as well. Get set for the 2021 IndyCar season. Zach, I'm ready if you are to jump into things here. I guess I'll throw the ball to you to get us going with this recap. Overall, takeaways, impression. Did you enjoy the caution-filled, weather-delayed Martinsville race? You know, I have to say before you get going, I put in the rundown, I think originally, we're going to have to wait for some NASCAR night racing here into the future. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, the Daytona 500 also had weather. They basically ran that race under the lights. So even though Martinsville wasn't under the lights like it was supposed to be, I mean, we got a few laps, I guess, but Daytona was. So anyway, your overall takeaways from last week's, I would say it was pretty entertaining on my end.
Yeah, I thought it was a good race, and I think it could have been better. But like I alluded to in my article, and you've already said, the final stage was full of cautions, and I think that just took away from how good Martinsville is, because you don't get the beat and banging like you usually do, and unfortunately, you just had people get spun.
Yeah, there were a lot of yellows coming out there. That is for sure. Before we did get to that final stage, though, it was really a battle of the 11 and the 12 throughout the first half, and really you could even extend that to 2/3, 3/4 even of the Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500. Ryan Blaney ultimately won stages 1 and 2, but he was battling with Denny Hamlin throughout, and really it was same story even down to the end of this race, right? Denny Hamlin off the restarts. I mean, he was just blowing everyone away. No matter where he restarted, it seemed like he would get to the front. Ryan Blaney was superior on the long run. And ultimately, both the first two stages ended with some laps between, and Blaney was able to take them both. So anything that you wanted to add there over the first portion of the race is those two guys really, I mean, they were the story.
Yeah, I mean, like you could have said any better. Hamlin had the short run car. Blaney had the long run car. I mean, Hamlin did get to him at the end of stage 2, but Blaney was able to hold off the bump and attempted run, but wasn't enough. Blaney got stages 1 and 2, and we went on to stage 3.
Yeah, and stage 3 is really where the action began. Shout out to Cody Ware. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy cause 3. The Sack shakes his head. 3 cautions he was responsible for in this race by himself. They weren't all in the final stage, so we can say that Cody Ware kind of Made it interesting, I guess, a little bit in the first couple stages himself. He had another one in the third stage, though. I mean, Rick Ware's got to be kicking himself, man. His son has got some issues driving that 51 car. Not in great equipment to begin with, but I mean, I got to tip my cap. I've never seen anyone, I don't think, do that. If I have, it's been a while.
He caused it when he caused the third caution. He caused half of all incident cautions at that point. He was 3 of 6.
Yep.
That's how bad this guy is. And if you go back to, it was like 2017 Darlington. Do you remember what he said? That I'll never forget this. It's just how stupidly funny it is when someone comes after you. You just make a fake cheating scandal like that. It's just so stupid, man. Cody, I try to like you, man, but you just do it to yourself. I can't anymore. Just
Zach has been
running MotoGP or whatever the hell he's been doing.
He has been a bit of a Rick Ware Racing guy on this show. Last week he wanted to say them over RFR every single time we were talking about the RFR boys. And
are you high right now, there, my guy? That's not
Rick
even
Ware
close
kept coming out. Oh, we can go back and watch the tape later, sir.
Okay, I might have misspoke, but I definitely did not mean to say Rick Ware Racing because
no, you didn't.
I think they should put most
I was just saying it was on your mind. They kept coming out. So Cody Ware, man, he's got some work to do. More on Rick Ware Racing, because I can't even say the name, later in the show. Speaking of Roush Fenway Racing, Chris Buscher getting into Kyle Busch, that was the biggest wreck of the final stage. Now, there were a lot of them. Kyle Busch, in fact, was involved in one earlier in the stage, just a spin as well. Ryan Newman spun around. I believe Matt DiBenedetto took some damage in an earlier caution. But Buscher into Kyle Busch, and that caused the parking lot in stage 3. I guess, the big ones they say those are at the super speedways, but it happened here at the short track of Martinsville, the paperclip too. I'll let you talk about the wreck, but also before you dive into it, my question to you as you break this down, was Buscher's move intentional? They were trying to figure it out on the broadcast. It wasn't quite clear. Kyle Buscher thought it was, if you heard that radio after the wreck, but curious to get your thoughts on this as well, Zach.
Absolutely, it was on purpose. I think you could definitely tell he moved left to try to get back at Kyle Busch, and it didn't work out for him or any of the people behind him because they all ended up in this wreck. I mean, he tried to retaliate, and it was the wrong time for him to retaliate. So, I mean, unfortunately for him, his payback didn't work out, and Kyle Busch is probably going, I still owe him one after that one. But, as far as the wreck goes, it took out 5 cars, but a lot more head damage, and it pretty much ended my fantasy day because Bowman, Keselowski, Kurt Busch, they were all in it and kind of did me in. I also had Kyle Busch, and he didn't have damage, but he was never the same after that.
Yeah, so much for Keselowski, my pick to win this race, the value pick at 10-1. That went up in smoke in this wreck. Zach said Alex Bowman was top 10 all day. He was taken out. Daniel Suarez was on fire after this thing. You have so many cars get knocked out, and someone like Cody Ware is able to finish 28th because he finished the race running. So hats off to him there. 3 cautions caused, 28th place showing, whatever it takes, right? Last pit stop. It was the money stop. You had to execute basically after the wreck, and Ryan Blaney's team did not, as the 12 car dragged the air gun out of the pit stall. Big penalty there as he had to restart from the back of the field. Actually worked his way back up through. That's how good the 12 car was at Martinsville. Wound up finishing 11th, but it killed his chances of winning. I mean, you can't have that on that stop, Zach. Am I right, or am I being too harsh? No, there's no excuse.
Any pit stop that happens before, he could probably rebound and get a top 5. But this one, it was just an absolute killer because I think everyone knew that he was done. His chances of winning the race are over. You can't let that happen. And I don't know if it's more on him or his tire guy, but that's just inexcusable.
100% agree. That basically left Joe Gibbs' teammates, Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr., as the two cars who are really going to contend for this thing. Again, off the restart, we see Denny Hamlin, superior short run car, pulls away, gets the lead. Truex just starts running him down, finally catches him. You don't want to move a teammate up the track necessarily to pass. Honestly, between Truex and Hamlin, I had no doubts that he would. He goes by MTJ, third win in the last 4 Martinsville races. That's my guy, Martinsville. Zach, first driver to win 2 races this season is Martin Truex Jr., and I can tell you are absolutely thrilled about it.
Yeah, absolutely thrilled. Yeah, he made it count when he needed to, and it worked out for him. Hamlin could not keep the long run car together, and it just showed all day. It couldn't hold Truex back, and this is how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, he also couldn't hold Chase Elliott back either, as the number 9 was able to catch him and overtake him in the end for second. Hamlin finishing third, William Byron fourth, Kyle Larson. He was a guy we were both kind of down on in terms of betting in DFS, but strong showing again for the Hendrick 5, rounding out your top 5. Was there anyone else you wanted to talk about based on where they finished at Martinsville? Couple of guys I know you're into in the top 10.
Yeah, let's bring them both up because I'm gonna just why not? Because I think we're both down on. Well, at least I was down on Harvick and Reddick. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you said the same about Reddick, but the fact that they both got top 10s after us basically dumping on them last week is pretty impressive to me. I mean, granted, they were nowhere near the ballpark that Blaney, Hamlin, and Truex were in, but still, the top 10's great for these guys that we. Both of us thought like they're not even going to finish top 15 they're not even going to come close.
Yeah, the fact that Kevin Harvick was complaining about his car and having issues with it, just in terms of handling early on in this race, makes his top 10 all the more impressive. And Reddick, I think you're exactly right. Just basically exceeded both of our expectations, finishing 8th. Wasn't necessarily looking at him as a short track guy, but impressive stuff out of the 8 car as well. Struggles continue for Stewart-Haas. Eric Almirola did a nice job fighting to stay on the lead lap at the end of the first stage. Only amounted to a 20th place finish. Cole Custer's down the line there, and Briscoe finished with heavy damage. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, we both think, and I think know, Kevin Harvick's first win is coming here eventually. But Stewart-Haas, man, this team just looks a step behind this year. They had all 4 guys in the playoffs last season, and I guess to me, it's just surprising. And you can say Cole Custer's playoff berth was a fluke kind of and whatever. It's just surprising to see what looks to be such a gap between them and the other 3 big teams here.
Yeah, they're I don't know if they've already given up on this car, waiting for the next car, like trying to figure it out. But it almost seems like that because what's Harvick's best finish this year? I don't even think he might have a top 5, but it's not even close to being like, okay, maybe not even, shouldn't say not even close, but he definitely, I don't think he has a second or a third. Yeah, he might have led laps. I don't even think he has a stage win yet this year. So this is a very disappointing down year for Harvick and his fans.
Yeah, he was top 10 at Atlanta, 6th place at Phoenix. Let's see here as I'm trying to look back. Not even on the map. With Vegas, top 5, you were right at Homestead. Impressed us with a 6th on the road course at Daytona. So the 500, 4th place, that's his best finish thus far this season.
Yeah, so, and out of a guy who had 9 wins last year, for him to only have a 4th as his top finish that's abysmal.
Yeah, he and Denny Hamlin were the big 2 last year, and Hamlin is doing everything but winning at this point, and Stewart-Haas just they're a step behind this year. That is for sure. Let's jump to Xfinity action from Martinsville here quick. How about Josh Berry? Driving to the win, the 2nd consecutive Xfinity Series race won by a junior motorsports driver after Justin Allgaier took the last one before the Bristol Dirt and then Easter break. Impressive stuff out of Barry here. Are we going to see more? Like, does he have staying power? Because this is a bit of a surprise, I think, at least for me.
It was a surprise to me too, but then you have people say, "Oh yeah, he's a short track guy. This is his domain." So I mean, this I don't want to say is expected because it was definitely not. But it should have been more apparent than what it should have been for how good he is at short tracks, and I feel like we'll be seeing more of this down the line.
Yeah, I think so. And interesting to listen to him talk with Corey LaJoie on the Stacking Pennies podcast this week. Really, he just his points were that he has been putting himself in position to know how to run, and like you said, he is a short track guy, experience in the late model world. So I guess if his win was going to come at any track. It's not surprising it was at the paperclip. Just want to play a little bit of that audio, I think, here to help supplement the conversation around Josh Berry's Xfinity win. So, again, this is him on Stacking Pennies with Corey LaJoie this week.
Me, over the last few years, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of great people and learn a lot of things. And I guess in a way, to be honest, I kind of felt like that I was just going to be a career short track racer. Really, have a lot of accomplished a lot of things in that area, and we kept finding new ways to develop that and kind of find new goals to set. Whether it be different races or championships, and all along the while, I've just learned a lot about racing and preparing the cars and basically, crew chiefing them in a way. So I guess I wasn't deathly, scared of not making it as a driver. I've been just trying to, maximize the opportunities that I get and learn a lot along the way that, if I wasn't going to be a driver, I know I could make a good career in racing.
Zach, I like to hear that. He never doubted his abilities as a driver, always had confidence that this would come. I thought it was interesting that he even said, crew chiefing the cars. I like that. The other takeaway that I had from this, love to see Dale Jr. Being so excited for Josh Berry as well. He even went on the record as saying that he was, getting more chills and almost more excitement watching Berry drive to the win here at Martinsville this past weekend than some of his dad's races, which that's crazy to think as well. Of course, Junior has since gone through his entire NASCAR career and maybe looks at it with a little bit of a different eye now than he did in the past. But anything else you want to add to the conversation around Berry?
I forgot I'm muted. Party hopes he wins at Talladega now because if Marcus Lemonis has tweeted out, he will be running a Camping World scheme. And if he wins at Talladega, he will run 4 more races in the 8. So I would love to see Berry in the car more.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens with as far as a playoff berth too, whether or not they're able to get an exemption or not. So cool stuff there from Josh Berry and Junior Motorsports. I saw it was possible. I don't know. Maybe I could have just been reading into rumors, but it's unlikely.
They'll only give it for an injury or in the case of Larson, Kenseth, that whole thing, that they'll give it to that because A, they were only missed 4 races, and B, you were going to have a lot of unhappy sponsors. And in this case, he missed it because he didn't have sponsors. He was only a part-time ride to begin with. They're not going to give it to him.
Guess we'll have to find out, but I would side with you there. I think it is highly unlikely, but the fact that there's a chance, never want to lose hope. Of course, the other big storyline coming out of the Xfinity Series race, we had more fireworks with the NASCAR minor leagues. Gray Galding, Joe Graff, I think I have his name correct there, going to town after the race on pit road. I mean, it seems like every week there are Xfinity guys just getting ticked off at one another. And it always seems to boil over here in some post-race action. This time, though, Noah Gragson not involved. So I guess if we're looking for one difference, where do you see it going from here? I don't know.
They're not done.
What are your thoughts? I don't even know how to react, but go ahead. And I think before you continue, I will add, I don't think they're done either.
They're not done. If you looked at their Twitters, they're not even close to being done. Joe Graf Jr. after the race went after Greg Galding, and neither one of them were happy. It took Joe Graf 3 opportunities to try to get one tweet out because he doesn't know how to spell or whatnot. I don't know why. I don't know what happened with him. No, legitimately, I screenshotted one that he deleted. My friend got one, and he put a third out before, and he still has the tweet up, I think. But yeah, Joe Graf Jr. is just mad he's not as good as Greg Galding. Greg Galding had better stats in the same car when Greg raced in the 07 that Joe Graf took over for. So that's my opinion. I'm going to stick to it because I'm going to side with Greg Galding here.
Well, I guess stay tuned because it's only going to get better. Xfinity is off this weekend. They are not racing at Richmond. But, I'm not sure if Talladega is a place where you want to carry over beef because you could tie more people up into that. But maybe after Talladega, we'll say, tune back into those guys. And also on Twitter, it sounds like it is explosive. That's for sure. Some news and notes from around NASCAR, as I think we covered the Xfinity pretty good. Was there anything else, I guess, before I do move on? Gragson finished second, Hemrick third, Ty Gibbs in fourth. So another impressive showing out of him. Anyone else you took a particular interest to where they finished?
No, I think we can move on.
All right. NASCAR news and notes. Of course, the big story that even the mainstream media networks are hopping on this week, Jennifer Jo Cobb, the aforementioned Rick Ware Racing. She will be in the 15 car at Talladega Superspeedway, not this weekend, but next weekend. She's the first woman to run in a NASCAR Cup Series race since Danica Patrick in 2018. It's her first Cup Series start. Of course, been running in the Truck Series. I give her all the props in the world. I'm excited to see how she does. Unfortunately, Rick Ware couldn't even keep up with the draft at Daytona. I'm not sure they're going to be able to at Talladega. My expectations aren't very high, but still, I give her all the props in the world. Anything else you want to add on this?
Jennifer Jo Cobb has only been in the Truck Series. She has never gotten a top 10. She's had hundreds of starts. My question is why? I know it's money, but why? Nothing against her. She's a good back marker in trucks, and I'm sure she'll end up getting a top 10 one day. Maybe she might surprise us at Talladega or beat our expectations for her. But as of on paper right now, my question when I saw that was why? Because there's so many better drivers out there that he could have had. And I'm probably getting canceled now. So I'm sorry, Henry, we're not making the 10.
You would do it right before we got to double digits. I don't like you. I think I think we deep down both know why, the two of us. But Rick Ware
money. I said it. That's why.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I give her all the props in the world, but Zach just ran down the stats. She's only been in the Truck Series. There has not been success in the Truck Series. It's fun to see her race. She's never typically near the front. Haley Deegan, obviously in a little better equipment, but she's been looked a lot better if we want to compare woman to woman in the Truck Series this year. So it is an interesting decision indeed. I guess James Davison just didn't want to drive the 15 on the super speedway. I don't think it would be very fun to super speedway race if I couldn't stay in the draft either. So maybe I don't blame him. moving on. We're not going to go too far down that hole. 4 Cup Series teams docked after the Martinsville race this past weekend. So we got 4 appearing in this week's penalty report. Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe in the 14 team, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47 team. They were all fined for lug nut violations, $10,000 each to their respective crew chiefs. And then what have we here with Daniel Suarez? An L1 penalty from pre-race inspection to the Trackhouse Racing 99 team. It looks like Brandon Jones had a fine for a lug nut that was not secure from the Xfinity race as well. Blaine Perkins had a penalty from that race. Zach, I don't know where you went or if you can still hear me because I cannot see you. But if you are here, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts on these penalties? Are we super worried about any of these teams going forward? I mean, I feel like we cover a slew of them here on this show every week. Didn't have any after Bristol Dirt, but that's because we didn't have competition cautions. And if I have my choice between having to read through some teams and crew chiefs that got fined for lug nut violations and actual real live pit stops, I will take that all day.
No, yeah, the lug nut penalties aren't going to hurt. The only thing that's really going to hurt is Suarez's penalty because it's going to. I'm pretty sure an L1 carries more than a fine, so that's not going to look too good.
Read. So they're docked 10 points in both the driver and team owner standings. I'm just looking at more on Suarez's penalty here. The reason for it was ballast outside the approved container, violation of rule, a big number, and a B at the end. Travis Mack, he's been having issues, man. He has already missed a race because of a previous penalty. 99 crashed out of Martinsville in that big wreck on fire here this past weekend. But overall, I think the 99 team has been impressing us. And I got a little shot in at the Bristol Dirt Race in that segment too, which is all the more worth it. Any other news or notes from motorsports, NASCAR, IndyCars coming? Anything else you wanted to add here?
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Justin Allgaier's scheme for Darlington, go ahead and take a look on Twitter. I think it looks amazing. Great throwback to the 3.
Awesome. So Justin Allgaier's Darlington paint scheme, check that out. Maybe I can find a way to post that from the show account on Twitter as well. Follow Burnt Rubber Racing at Burnt Rub Racing if you aren't already.
Shameless plug.
You knew I had to do it. Shall we go to Richmond, sir? More short track racing in the state of Virginia, just at the opposite end, and we're a little longer this week. Richmond lost this race last year because of the rescheduling and all that nonsense. So it's not going to be under the lights this year, but NASCAR is back with a spring race at Richmond. Zach, I guess the floor is yours here to kind of walk us through Richmond Raceway.
Yeah, so it's a 3/4 of a mile track. I shouldn't say a very short track, but it's a shorter track than what NASCAR is used to. How do I really describe it? The start finish line is more. It's a D-shaped oval where the start finish line is more towards turns 3 and 4 than it is 1 and 2 instead of being in the center. But it's got about I want to say 12 degrees of banking. Let me look that up right now because I didn't do my research because I work and whatnot.
You work, really? What a concept!
So shut up.
People working for money. Didn't know we had to do that. These days.
Yeah, who knew?
I can fill some airtime while you look into that here. So this race is among the oldest on the NASCAR circuit, just like last week's race at Martinsville, officially now named the Toyota Owners 400. It obviously hasn't always been called that, but it has been run since 1953 with 3 exceptions. The first 2 came in the 50s, and the third was last year. Otherwise, it's been held annually. Another fun fact just about the name of the race. Back when Crown Royal was the sponsor, they actually had a fan essay contest, and that was how they named the race for a couple years. Back at the end of last decade, I guess we're in another one, so it would have been the 2010. You know what I mean? It's early in this one. Yeah.
It's 14 degrees in the turns, 8 degrees on the front stretch, and 2 degrees on the back stretch. Fun track to race at for NASCAR. And I always get beaten and banging. And in 2008, we all remember the Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch scenario.
We sure do. Now, I said Richmond lost its spring race last year with NASCAR rescheduling the 2020 season around. They did have the fall postseason race. That was won by Brad Keselowski. Kevin Harvick started on the pole for that one. This week, however, in the Toyota Owners 400, it'll be Martin Truex Jr., last week's winner, the only 2-time winner this season thus far. He is on the pole. He and Kyle Busch have combined to win the other 4 of the most recent 5 races at Richmond, counting both the fall and spring races. So no surprise, Truex is the betting favorite outright on the odds to win right now. Zach, any commentary, facts on driver history at Richmond before we dive into some DFS and some odds?
No, not really. I'm trying to think of anything that really statistically it sticks out, but nothing I could really think of. But as for DFS, this is a tough track to go off of after last year. So the only 2 I could really think of to take is Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. because they're so good here.
Yeah, I'd be right there with you. Joe Gibbs Racing overall has been really good here in the past decade. I believe it was 7 of the last 11 editions of this race alone that Joe Gibbs has won. Looking at top 10 finishes over the last 5 races, so this would be since spring of 2018. Kyle Busch has finished top 10 all 5, and Truex 4 times. Kyle Busch with 3 top 5s in that same run, and Truex with 4 as well. Kevin Harvick has also finished top 10 in all 5 races. Keselowski right there with him. Clint Boyer, that's a name you wouldn't expect to see, but 5 top 10s each of the last 5 races. Unfortunately, he's going to be in the broadcast booth this weekend, so that doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. And joining Busch, Truex, Harvick, Keselowski with a average driver rating over 100 in the last 5 races is Joey Logano. So those would be the 5 with an average driver rating over 100 in the last 5 Richmond Raceway races. Zach, DFS. You said Busch and Truex are the 2 guys you're definitely going to be taking. Probably going to have to pay up for both of them, given their strong history here at Richmond. Got a value play for us this week?
I gotta say Suarez. I feel like he's been so good at the short tracks. Granted, one of them was on dirt, but he looked good last week until I think he had a vibration. If I'm correct, something went wrong with him late in the race until he was involved in that wreck. Got moved by William Byron too. That's also part of the reason why I got in that wreck. But I like Daniel Suarez for a cheap play. They've looked good so far this year.
I can get behind that, absolutely. We'll jump to some odds to win, unless you wanted to throw someone out that you're definitely going to avoid for DFS this week, or should we save that for the article, which everyone can read over at flurrysports.org?
We'll save it for the article. Make it. I need the views.
There you go. Bring them in, people. Check out Zach's DFS article and all our NASCAR and racing content over at flurrysports.org. Good supplement to our discussions here on the Burnt Rubber Racing pod. Betting odds to win the race. I mentioned it quick before. Martin Truex Jr. Referencing MyBookie for these odds as we do each week. The betting favorite at plus 330. So the odds makers and the market right now are behind him to earn a third win. Behind him, Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin are both 6-1. So you've got last fall's winner. And then Denny Hamlin, who, like we said before, he's doing everything but winning races in terms of statistics and whatnot this season. I guess those would be the three favorites. If we want to expand this pool a little bit before I shoot it to Zach to give us a pick off the cusp. Joey Logano is 7-1. Chase Elliott joins him at that price. Kyle Larson 8-1. Kyle Busch 9-1. Of course, he has been struggling lately, but the history's here at Richmond. And Kevin Harvick round out the 8 at 10-1 or less. Where's the value there for you, Mr. McAdoo?
I gotta say, Kyle. Look, he might not have been great last week, but the guy knows Richmond very well. So go ahead and take Mr. Kyle Busch for this week.
9-1. I can get behind that as well. I thought it was funny last week after we did the show, in the 24 hours between that and when I went to actually write up the betting article with my picks, just the crazy amount of odd movement. And that was what led me to ultimately take Keselowski. We both liked him. I think he was hovering around 6-1. He and Truex both had their odds increase substantially from when we did the show to the following day. So keep an eye on movement again this week. Kyle Busch was one of those drivers that his odds went down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here with the Richmond race odds to win as well. Jumping down after that first group of 8, the only other two drivers who are lower than 25-1 right now would be Blaney at 12-1 and William Byron quietly putting together a strong, consistent season at 14-1. He doesn't have the history or track record per se at Richmond, like some of these other guys that are among the favorites. But that 24 team has been impressive. Might be a little value there on Byron at that price. Christopher Bell 25-1, Alex Bowman 28-1, Kurt Busch 33-1, Austin Dillon 40-1. I know we have a wide range of odds here. But which of those 6, I guess, would you be trying to ride with this week, Zach? Because everyone else they're long shots.
Quietly, I like Bowman. I feel like Alex Bowman is going to get a win sooner than later. I feel like Hendrick is very good at Richmond, and we talked about him earlier being one of the best teams, if not the best team, and now with Truex having 2 wins and JGR as a whole having 3, they've got to match him now. So now's the time to do it.
And get behind that. I think it's a similar sentiment to kind of mine with Byron. Hendrick has looked impressive overall. And, that was not an ideal finish for the 48 team last week. So we'll see if they can get back on the horse after running well for the most part until they were wrecked out of Martinsville. Looking at long shots, Tyler Reddick, Eric Almirola are both 66-1. Matty D, Ryan Newman are both 80-1. Bubba Wallace 100-1. Austin Cindric is in this weekend's race, driving for Team Penske. He'll start at the rear. He's 125-1. He has shorter odds than a lot of Cup regulars, though. I will say that, including Daniel Suarez, who Zach mentioned might be a value play in DFS. He is 200-1 along with Chase Briscoe. Any of those guys strike your fancy? Anyone else you'd be curious as to the odds on for Dollar and a Dream at Richmond this week.
Yeah, how long are Reddick and Chastain? Are they longer than Cindric?
Reddick is 66, and where's Chastain? 300. So he is far longer than Cindric.
Wow, that surprises me. Like we talked about last time, Chastain, Briscoe, they're in good equipment. Probably better than Cindric because I don't think Cindric's going to get the best equipment with him being part-time. It just does not make sense to me for why they would have longer odds than Cindric.
Can I interest you in Chris Buscher at the same 300-1 price? He was running well, I thought, at Martinsville last week, and then of course the retaliation and that went as it was. But that price stands out to me. Put $1 on Chris Buscher? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, who knows? He might surprise people.
And just to make Zach happy, Cody Ware is 2,000-1 to win the Toyota Owners 400.
Yeah, you guys go bet at him, and you'd have a better time burning that dollar.
It would be more entertaining, I think, than just giving it to someone behind the counter or putting it in your phone account or however you're betting on this race. So yeah.
Here, actually, let's do this. I will put my Venmo in my freaking Twitter. You guys can give me your dollars. I can spend it more wisely than you betting on Cody Ware. I'll tell you that.
And the man has spoken. How about some other odds for this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond? We hop over to DraftKings.
What are the odds that Cody Ware causes a caution? I want those odds.
Let me check my race props here. They don't have it. Sorry to tell you. What a shame. And DraftKings really does a nice job with their NASCAR betting selection in terms of what they offer too. So if you are looking to get into NASCAR betting, or you already are and are looking for a new sports book, highly recommend DraftKings. Guess I just did them a favor right here on the show. Looking at odds for a top 3 and top 10 here to start over there. Truex is plus 110. He's 4-1 to win the race at DraftKings compared to plus 330 that we referenced earlier. Denny Hamlin plus 170 for a top 3. Kyle Larson, interesting name, plus 185 for a top 3. Anyone else you'd be interested in? Any of those 3 guys there? Kyle Busch, interested to see what his prices are. Plus 260 for a top 3. Got to lay $2 on a top 10. In terms of top 5, you can bet on Kyle to get top 5 at plus 120. So some interesting numbers there for a guy who certainly has a track record.
Yeah, Kyle. I feel like Kyle is definitely going to get a top 5 here, barring another Buscher payback situation. But yeah, I don't know how Kyle has odds that good. And granted, I only pay attention to the winners' odds. Really, I don't really follow the top 3s, 5s, 10s stuff.
Yeah, not every book offers them, which makes it tough. Which again, that's why DraftKings really has a great selection, and the way to consistently make money betting on racing is through props and such. You know, the odds to win are flashy, but can really take advantage of some other handicapping angles with some of these other wager offerings. Looking at some top 10 numbers now. Alex Bowman, you said kind of liked him there at 25-1 to win, plus 125 for just a top 10. Could get behind that, I think, on this end. Daniel Suarez, just because you referenced him as value, plus 290 for a top 10. Anyone else you think can run well this weekend, but might not necessarily have the juice to win the race?
Let's see where Bubba Wallace lands, because he's had a very up and down season so far.
23-11 Racing Zone. Bubba Wallace plus 240 for a top 10. Top 5 would be a little loftier for sure, and that would be 10-1 just for a top 5. You biting on 240?
I don't think so. I feel like. Oh wait a minute, it's 10. Yeah, for top 10 I might. For top 10 I might. Maybe
Top
he
10,
gets
yeah.
lucky. Maybe he gets a bone this week. I feel like he impressed me last week, and I don't know what went wrong at the end. And he almost seemed like he fell off, lost me some points, but I feel like he's due.
I think I could get behind that as well. Jumping over to some props, looking at some matchups here. Now, Ryan Blaney looked great last week. The air gun issue on the final pit stop cost them what would have definitely been a much better finish. He's up against William Byron in a matchup. Minus 134 for Blaney. Even money on Byron. Kind of like that for the 24 a little bit. Truex and Hamlin, kind of your two betting favorites. Truex is minus 125 and Hamlin minus 106 in that head-to-head. Kyle Busch minus 125 against Kevin Harvick minus 106. Let me find one more to give you a good selection here. Keselowski and Larson, both minus 115 in the head-to-head. Out of those four, which would be your preferred to play? And, yeah, I mean, did you play more than one?
Definitely not Keselowski Larson. I can tell you that. They two winners here. I think Keselowski's won here, if I'm correct. But
yep, last fall.
Steer clear of that one. I feel like Truex is gonna do better than Hamlin, so I have to take that one. If I heard correctly.
Yes. Yep. Truex minus 125, Hamlin minus 106. Kind of like Ryan Newman against Ricky Stenhouse Jr. They're both minus 115.
I guess that wouldn't be a bad one either.
Yeah, I think I can get behind that one for sure. What else do we have here? Look at some groups quick. Group A, I'm sorry, is loaded. Of course, with all those top guys. Truex is plus 195. Hamlin plus 230. Brad K plus 285. Chase Elliott sneaks in there at plus 325. You said you like Truex over Hamlin. It's a tough call. I honestly, based on those prices, I might take a stab at Hamlin there. Am I crazy? Longer odds.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't think so. I guess you're gonna go use the odds. It's not that bad, but I still don't think he's gonna do it.
Well, I guess you shot that one down on me.
It happens.
Let's look at some of these bottom groups here quick. Pick a letter, Zach. E or F?
F.
All right. Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez 2-1. He is the Group F betting favorite. We've got Chase Briscoe, Chris Buscher, and Michael McDowell all at plus 275.
Repeat that again. I'm sorry. This thing, we've been having connection issues all day, folks. Stay with us.
Daniel Suarez is the group favorite at 2-1. Chase Briscoe plus 275, as are Chris Buscher and Michael McDowell. So that's to win Group F.
I feel like I like Chris Buscher now. I think maybe it's because I've been not high on Buscher all year, but just something about Chris Buscher. There's something about him. He's gonna end up winning the race. Is it this week? Probably not. But he's still got a strong car. He's a great driver. I'd take Buscher in that group.
I am right there with you, and I know you said you think Daniel Suarez can do some good things too. We see the market kind of reflecting that with him as the favorite in the group right now. But just looking at the odds, if you're going to tell me Buscher is priced the same as Briscoe and McDowell behind Daniel Suarez, that screams value to me. I'm right with Zach. If you just watch the races, you can see that Chris Buscher has been running better than each of those guys for sure. Anything else you wanted to look at? Manufacturers of interest? Anything else betting-wise for the Toyota Owners 400 on your end?
I think I'm good.
Alrighty, just in case you were curious, team of the race winner, Joe Gibbs, is the favorite at plus 160.
I think we all knew that was coming, though.
Yeah. Maybe you can get behind Hendrick at plus 280. I don't know. That would be the non-favorite to have value there. As I look at those just real quick. But Zach, we have to also talk about the IndyCar season opener. The American Open Wheel Series gets underway this weekend at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. Should be a good one. Of course, IndyCar, it all builds toward the Indianapolis 500, which this year is at the end of May. But they got to get started.
It's always at the end of May. What are you talking about?
They got to get started. It got pushed back a week, right? Or is that just the season opener? Because this week got pushed back.
I think it was just the season opener. They always have the Indy 500 at around Memorial Day, like the day before Memorial Day, with like the Coke 600. But I think it's just this. Actually, usually Indy starts in March, so this is like a whole month for them to be pushed back, and that seems weird to me.
Yeah, it's taken a while for them to get going. Took even longer when they moved this week's opener back. I guess Zach is right. The Indy 500 is scheduled to be run on time by the looks. But anyway, IndyCar finally gets going this week. My question, why are they going head-to-head with the Cup race on Sunday? Cup race is scheduled to get underway at 3, and the IndyCar race, the Indy season opener, is scheduled to start at 3:45. I don't really understand that. I don't really know that I like it, but I guess I'm going to be watching 2 races at once. Do you have an explanation for this? Because I think it's kind of a gaffe.
Look, going head to head, yeah, why not? Nascar's not, I believe, back on FS1 this week, so why not put yourself out there?
Do you want to just run back what you just said? Because we lost your audio there for a second. I apologize.
Yeah, I was going to look to see what time it started, and you just said it. It's like, damn it. You're now having stuck on the screen. But yeah, I said that IndyCar is that's true for the Indy 500s. Every other race, I don't think so. As far they're on a major network this week too. NASCAR is not. I believe NASCAR is on FS1.
Yes, NBC. Nope, it's Fox and NBC Sunday afternoon.
So yeah, that's more puzzling to me then. But if you're gonna go big on the national network that you are on, and maybe we'll end up seeing how the ratings fare.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. It'll be interesting to see who kind of wins this duel for sure. The way they're staggered, of course, the IndyCar race is going to take a little less time. They could be ending right around the same time too, which makes it all the more interesting, I guess, for me, just looking at it based on why are we doing this. At any rate, some drivers moved around during the offseason, as they always do. IndyCar has its own silly season. Jimmy Johnson's the big name who comes over to IndyCar. He's going to be splitting time in the number 48 Honda for Chip Ganassi with Tony Kanaan. Johnson's going to be running the ovals, and Kanaan, no, do I have that right? Johnson's going to be running, it looks like, the road and street portion. I apologize, I had that backwards. And then Tony Kanaan's going to be running the ovals. Any other names that you wanted to throw out there? Just interesting where they signed. I think for the most part, though, with IndyCar silly season, we're looking at a lot of guys who kind of either re-signed with where they were or are just back in a place where they once were. It seems like when it all kind of shakes out. And we lost Zach again. McAdoo and these connection issues, I tell you. Well, if we look, I guess we can jump to a quick overview of Barber Motorsports Park in the IndyCar season opener this weekend. There are not betting odds up. If you're looking to bet on this race, neither DraftKings nor Offshore have Indy odds yet. Potentially part of that is because, unlike NASCAR with their qualifying formula, IndyCar is actually going to be running practice and qualifying on Saturday before Sunday's race. So the starting grid is not yet set. That'll be determined Saturday afternoon. And I would expect that we can see some betting odds, if not tomorrow, before qualifying and such, definitely after that, before Sunday's race. I just had a couple notes about history running here at Barber Motorsports Park, where this weekend's IndyCar action is scheduled to be. Joseph Newgarden, the most wins among the field here at the Alabama track with 3. Takuma Sato, former Indy 500 winner. He is the most recent winner at this track. And yeah, so if you are looking to bet on this race, obviously pay attention to qualifying and practice on Saturday, and then shop around for where you might be able to find IndyCar odds on the Barber Motorsports Park race. I'm sure qualifying will tell us a lot about how drivers look as the season finally gets underway. A week later than anticipated, a month later than normal, but IndyCar open wheel racing is back this weekend. So it is a loaded schedule for race fans to enjoy this weekend. The Cup Series race, of course, Sunday afternoon, head-to-head little coverage, airtime battle between that and the IndyCar race. And you've also got the NASCAR trucks will be in action at Richmond Raceway. That is scheduled for Saturday afternoon, so it's not a night race, but Saturday afternoon. Of course, when Kyle Busch is in a truck series race, he's always going to be your betting favorite, and he indeed is. Currently priced minus 134 at DraftKings. If you're interested in taking a run at him, his, I guess you'd call him employee, John Hunter Nemechek, also driving for KBM, is 7-1. Everyone else 10-1 or longer. Sheldon Creed, Zane Smith 11-1, Matt Crafton 12-1. But the betting odds would suggest kind of what we all have come to assume here when we have a truck series race with Kyle Busch in it. It's his race to lose. And so if you don't think he's going to lose that race, hey, laying minus 134 on such a heavy favorite to win a race, it might not be a terrible idea. I could get behind that play, I think, for sure. A couple of intriguing matchups to watch over at DraftKings as well. Got to lay a little on Brett Moffatt against Chandler Smith, but I think I would take the minus 129 there with Moffatt in the Toyota Care 250. So again, Truck Saturday, Cup Series Sunday. IndyCar gets its season underway shortly after the Cup Series race starts Sunday afternoon as well. So enjoy your race weekend. Apologize again for our technical difficulties. I'm sure Zach will listen to the end of the show and tell me everything I did wrong after the fact. But we made it through episode 9 of Burnt Rubber Racing. Again, please follow and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're literally available everywhere. We're also on the Flurry Sports Podcast Network. So subscribe to the Flurry Sports Podcast You'll get us every Friday, a segment of Burnt Rubber Racing every Friday, and along with some other great shows throughout the week. Meet our guest. You've got Lombardi Sweep, guys from over there, every Thursday, and then of course the main show is every Monday. That's the Flurry Sports podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Zach on Twitter at ZT McAdoo. Follow the show on Twitter at Burnt Rub Racing. And you can follow me on Twitter if you really want to at Hank Time Sports. Viewer discretion is advised. I think that's it. We'll have articles, as we always do, in the NASCAR section over on flurrysports.org to help get you set for this weekend's action. Zach's DFS, my betting, the starting lineup, it's all over at flurrysports.org. I'll try and whip up something for the IndyCar if I can as well. The betting odds are too late for me to get something done before that race over the weekend. Maybe we can do a little bit of a season preview and some history at Barber Motorsports Park in Reading for you as well. So thank you for joining us. It's been fun as always. We will be back for our first episode in double digits next week. Hey, it's first milestone. Well, second milestone. I guess the first one's your first show, but we're going to hit double digits next week. So I got to be excited. I'm like a kid in a candy store. What can I say? Thank you again. This has been episode 9 of Burnt Rubber Racing. We will talk to you later.